Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back during your calendar's franchise mode here in NHL 25. So in last episode, if you did not catch it, we had a pretty good first round of the playoffs. It might be the best first round we've had, in my opinion. As you can see, we knocked out the Columbus Blue Jackets in 6 games. Now, what was good about this series is we found our offensive game, we also found our defensive game, and our goaltending was also very solid. So we ended up losing game 1 5-4 in overtime, so that game wasn't really that great and indicative of the rest of the series, as we went on to win the next 2 games 6-1 and 3-2. We didn't lost 1-0, so that was definitely a game we could have won, so I was a little bit worried, so we made some line adjustments, and then we responded with 2 more good victories where we ended up winning 6-2 and 4-0. So a pretty damn solid first round. There has been some players that have been under-simulating a little bit, but aside from that, our top guys have been working really hard, and I will show you guys the stats from the first round, just because I think some of these guys have been really good so far. Like Houghton on 11 points in 6 games. He actually did have a 5-point game in that series, which is kind of insane. So the best defenseman on the team is leading the team right now, which is kind of insane. Crane's on 11 points as well, so he's been really good. 3 of those goals came in his, I think it was in one of the first games of the round, and it was a hat-trick performance, obviously. Giordano's on 10 points. Like, you can see there's a lot of guys in the top 6 doing very good work. Now, a couple guys that weren't really doing much were Ragnarsson, who has now 3 assists through 6 games, and also Bjorkstrand, who only has an assist through 6 games. So basically what we did is we ended up editing our lines and moving Bjorkstrand down to the 3rd line, which is still kind of, I think, a temporary thing for him just because he's an 89 overall. So a 3rd line role for an 89 doesn't really make much sense, but Ragnarsson has been doing better on that top line since playing on the top line, so maybe we'll just give him a few more games on the top line, and then if he has the confidence and stuff like that, maybe he could go back to the 3rd line and continue scoring, basically. And then hopefully Bjorkstrand kind of finds that confidence a bit, because like I said in last episode, his contract, obviously a clause kicks in this next coming season. He is starting to basically just become more of a general top 6 player in terms of offense, which is not necessarily what we paid him like. And in his playoff performances here so far has been pretty bad. So I really hope that he can find that next level in this next round, because if he does play really good, that will definitely help us in terms of playoff runs and stuff like that, because our offense on the top 6 was good. The 4th line outperformed the 3rd line, so I'm a little bit worried about guys like Leahy and Nielakainen. I hope that they could kind of their offense going maybe a bit in this next round as well, because if that happens, then we're basically getting offense from every single lineup and every single player on this team too, which would be very nice. And as I also did not mention, but in last episode, Solovyov was on his game completely, and I'm really hoping Solovyov continues that. I do think his numbers are going to drop off in the second round, just because we are taking on Philadelphia, but you can see in the first round, he had a .940 save percentage through 6 games, only allowing 1.8 goals per game, so will be interesting to see if he's able to maintain that, or if Philadelphia, since they were one of the best teams in the league, they were the 2nd best team in the league, will they be able to find a way to beat us? Now, the Flyers were an interesting team in the season. Like I said, we could have honestly passed them in the standings, but we just missed out on taking that top spot in our division. However, they are still a very good team, and they do have a lot of former players on that roster as well, which kind of makes this second round a little bit intriguing, because they do have a lot of former defenders, nobody on the offensive side, but you can see their offense is pretty damn good. Very solid depth, especially down the middle, and then they also have some elite players in that top 6. From that defensive standpoint, though, you can see former defenseman Jonathan Sierra, who we dealt to Utah a few years ago. He signed there in free agency, so he's a top 2 defenseman on that team. And they also do have Walker Osgood, who we traded away before he ended up making his debut. He had a 30-point rookie season, which is kind of insane because he's a DFD. And they also do have Craig Cassivi, who we also got rid of to there. So Cassivi, Osgood, and Sierra are all going to be playing against us, which is interesting. Hopefully they don't score goals against us. So far they haven't done too much in terms of offense in the postseason. But I know for a fact I think one of them will at least score a goal against us. But obviously we could definitely still win this series, but I am a little bit worried just because there's a lot of former players on this team, and they obviously have the skill in that top 6 to do a lot better than what they did in the first round. Because in the first round, they kind of under-simulated a bit, I would say. Like, they were very good offensively still, but their goals against per game was a lot worse than it was during the regular season, if I'm not mistaken. Their power play percentage was good. Their penalty kill percentage was decent too. So just 5-on-5 goals against, I guess, to give up a decent amount. But we are the best defensive team right now in the postseason. So I hope that we can maintain that in this second round. But with that said, let's get into the one and only comment we got in last episode. And then we will probably keep our lines the same. And we'll get into the second round. So that comment is from Sound Otaku, who says, those lineup adjustments were probably just what the team needed. Stick with it for now, and we'll see what happens next round. So yeah, we'll stick with it for now, but obviously, if the team starts not playing good, we obviously will have to make more adjustments. But for right now, having Bjorkstrand on the third line, I think it makes most sense just because he hasn't been playing that good. Ragnarsson's been a really solid player here. He was very quiet for the beginning of the first round, but he didn't end up picking up 3 assists since being on that top line. And obviously during the regular season, he was point per game. So I'm hoping that we can find a way to get him scoring some goals and stuff like that in the second round. And if we do that, and if we start losing a couple games, maybe we'll move him back down to the third line. But I'm hoping guys like Leahy and Nielkainen can kind of help out with Bjorkstrand a little bit, or vice versa. And then also another adjustment we made in last episode was moving Frondell to the second line, Karain to the first line. Seems like that worked out quite well too. So hopefully all these line adjustments that we made last episode don't give us a negative impact in this round. So with that said, I think we're ready to get into this next round. Let's see if we're able to take out some of our former defensemen in Philadelphia. Like I said, this is going to be probably one of our tougher matchups of this playoff run. Whoever wins this series could very well be a Stanley Cup favorite. I'm not too sure how the Western Conference looks, but I know that Chicago technically was the best team in the NHL, and they were eliminated in the first round, which is actually kind of insane. I didn't even realize that was the case because I was looking actually at the player stats throughout the entire playoffs. And if we go on over to here, you can see, despite them losing in the first round, Connor Bedard and Frank Nazar both 15 and 13 points in 6 games, but they only won 2 games during that postseason. So that's actually kind of insane. So Chicago's knocked out. So we honestly, us and Philadelphia, are the best 2 teams next in the standings. So I think one of us, whoever comes out on top of this, will win the Stanley Cup. That's just my prediction right now. But anyways, let's get to game number 1 and see if we could keep the former defenders off the score sheet. But I feel like still one of them is going to score at some point. Just it makes sense for them to score, considering there's 3 of them. If there was only one of them, I would say probably not the case. But I know Kasivi could bring some offense a bit. Obviously, Osgood had a good rookie season with the Philadelphia Flyers. And then Sierra is decent in terms of at least assisting on plays. So let's see what happens here. Game number 1 in Philadelphia. They took out the Buffalo Sabres, I think it was, in Game 7 in Round 1. So let's see if we could beat them for taking out another New York team. First period. Scoreless, I'll take it. Good defensive period. That kind of plays into our hands a little bit, these good defensive games, because we haven't allowed a first period goal in this entire playoff run so far. That's one thing that we did really well at against the Blue Jackets. We didn't allow them to score goals early on. It was mostly their offense was picking up goals in like the second and third period, but for not allowing a goal in the first period is really nice, and it's continuing so far here into the next round. Shots are pretty even, 14-13, so this might be a goaltending showdown. Let's see if we can find a way to get our offense going in the second period. Second period? Still scoreless, damn, okay. We are running away in the shot department, 30-21, but nobody has scored so far. So despite Philadelphia not having a good defensive first round, they are playing good defensively here, and their goaltending has been very good. So that's a little bit iffy to me because obviously they shouldn't be this good defensively, but maybe they're finding their defensive game, not as much their offensive game. I don't really know who's going to win this game, but it's probably whichever goalie buckles first, so to speak. So let's see if we could find a way to get that game's first goal. We are outplaying them, but we have not scored so far. Let's see what happens. Third period underway. Come on, boys. Let's get that first goal of the game. Is this going to be a defensive stalemate of a series? Like, it could be one of those type of series that don't see a lot of goals for and all that. Oh my goodness. The Flyers open the scoring despite us out-shooting Justin Sordiff. Do we have an answer to that? Come on, boys. There's still time. We are getting a ton of shots on goal. And we just got goalied by Devin Levi, who, like I said, didn't have a great first round. That kind of has me on a little bit on edge. That's our second game this entire playoff run where we've been out shut out 1-0. So that's not ideal. We do need our offense to be back to where it was. Like I said, if our top 6 basically goes quiet, right now we don't have the depth scoring on that third line. So that's not an ideal first game. We did outplay them, but that one goal from Sordov ends up being the difference in this one. So Devin Levi outplayed us, and then Solovyov was good again. Solovyov has been probably one of our most consistent players this postseason, so hopefully he can find a way to continue like that, and hopefully we can find some offensive output. But tough first game. It was on the road. So at least we haven't lost a home game yet. If we lose any home games, then that's going to make it worse. But we definitely need to find a way to get offense going for game number 2. So I already might make some line adjustments, but it wasn't a bad defensive game. I just really don't know if there's anything I could do to get our offense flowing a bit better again. Because, like I said, we've been shut out 1-0 2 times in this postseason so far. So, let's go with Seal Fido top line. Ragnarsson will go onto the second line with Frundell and Giordano. Just try something random like that. Eventually we'll move Bjorkstrand back up, but he's been really not doing anything so far for us, so I'm going to keep him on the third line until he maybe scores a goal at least. And then defensive core is fine the way it is, because we've been playing a good defensive hockey. It's just the offense has to be a little bit more consistent, I feel like. Like, it was good in the last 2 games against the Blue Jackets since we made the line adjustments, but the amount of games where we've not scored goals in so far is a little bit worrisome. All right, so can we find a way to respond in game 2? We obviously need to find ways to score goals, but let's still play that good defensive hockey, keep ourselves in these type of games throughout most of the periods if possible, and hopefully we get good goaltending again from Solovyov. Like I said, Solovyov has been very good the last little while. Like, he's only allowed 1 goal in his last 2 games, 3 goals in his last 3, and 4 in his last 4 even, for that matter. Damn, yeah, he's been really lights out, so he's definitely been our MVP, I think, so far the postseason. We need Olli Houtonen and Karain to step up in this game if they can, because they are our leading point getters at the moment. So let's see what happens here. Game number 2, still in Philadelphia. Can we find a way to steal one of their home games? Because that would be a good way to at least start off this series. Because if we lose both their home games, it's not the end of the world. But then we need to win both of our home games. So if we could steal, one of their games on the road, that would be absolutely huge for our confidence going back to home ice. So first period, game number 2. Scoreless. We have only scored no goals in the series so far, and we haven't scored since the Columbus series, so that's not ideal. We are getting outshot this time around 12-8, but so far we still have not allowed a goal in the first period, which I'm still impressed with. But also we haven't scored a goal in any of these 4 periods so far against the Flyers, which also makes me feel like it could be one of those series where your offense just completely dries up, and basically Devin Levi just doesn't allow anything. So really hoping our offense can find itself in a second period, because if it doesn't, we might have to make some more adjustments to try and get the offense to flow through our lineup a bit better, because right now we might be too much of a defensive team, it seems like. Can we find some goals in a second for our team? Second period. 2-0 us. There's the offense finally, and it's 2 top line guys. Like I said, the top line, if it's quiet, we'll end up losing games. If it's not quiet, we can win games. Makinen makes it 1-0. Karain scores a few minutes later on the power play, and that's what I like to see going into the third. Shots are still pretty even in this game, 23-21, but we do have a 2-0 lead going into the third. Let's see if we can hold on to this lead and take one of these road games. Come on, boys. Let's get her done. Power play for us to start off the third. We do not score on it, but it does take time off the clock, which is always a good thing. Almost halfway through the period. Still up by a pair. Can we lock this game down as Michkov breaks the shutout for Solovyov? Not ideal, but we are still up by a goal. Let's just get an insurance marker, and we do get it. Power play goal from Houtonen. I said Houtonen and Karain needed to step up in this game, and they did that. Karain gets an empty net goal, and we win 4-1, outshooting them 47-28. That's a pretty dominant victory there. I know it's only by 3 goals, but 47 shots to 28. We definitely show that we have the weapons to get a lot of chances on goal. Like last game, we outshot them too, but we just could not find that one goal. So a nice road win for your New York Islanders. Those goals being Makinen from Houtonen, Karain from Giordano, Houtonen from Giordano and Makinen, and Karain from Seal Fido and Makinen. So yeah, the top 6 really did its work here. The top guys that are getting paid a lot of money also did a lot of work. So Makinen 3 points, Houtonen, Karain, and Giordano 2 points, and Seal Fido picked up an assist. Not too bad. Goal scoring, or goalie-wise, Solovyov's been insane. I don't even know how he's been this good. He might be the best playoff goaltender I've had right now in terms of a series our last 2 series. I know he's going to have a bad game eventually, though. There's no way he's going to be able to maintain this throughout the entire playoff run. But Crane first star, Makinen second star, Solovyov the third star. Because we did say going into this game, Solovyov has allowed 4 goals in his last 4 games. Now he's allowed 5 goals in his last 5 games. Let's see, 1 goal, 3 goals, no goals. Yeah, it's literally 5 goals against in his last 5 games. There has been no problems whatsoever with the defensive play and the goaltending. It's just about finding that offensive consistency going forward for our team. So now the series shifts to home ice, though. So if we could find a way to win both these games, we could put ourselves in a pretty good spot. But Philadelphia is obviously going to look to try and steal one of our games since we stole one of theirs. I think we got to keep the team the same, but I'm hoping, obviously, that guys that are still on the quiet side, like Bjorkstrand, could get going here. Because if Bjorkstrand could get going and that third line could get going, like I said, we don't have to have as much pressure on the top 6 to be performing all the time. So hopefully we could get a little bit more depth scoring, but other than that, I've been happy with the performance so far this postseason. So let's get into this next game, get into Game 3, see if we could take our home games as well and take a series lead here. Come on, boys. Let's see if we can find our offense in the first period because we haven't scored so far in this first 2 games. First period, game number 3. 1-1. Okay, they do score in the first period, which means that's the first time we've given up a goal in the first period. It was a power play goal for William Eklund, but a late goal for Makinen, who's been a little bit good as of late. He's now got 4 points in the last 2 games. Makinen definitely has been one of our best players as well this postseason. Shots are 12-10 in favor of Philadelphia. It's a 1-1 game. Can we find a way to get that lead in the second period? Second period? Ooh, yep. I knew Solovyov was going to have a bad game eventually. I mean, I do feel like we could still come back because the fact that they were up 5-1 at one point. But that's a really tough period for Solovyov. He allows 3 quick goals, which didn't make Zlatowski in net now for the rest of this. So, yeah, tough time for Solovyov. But I knew he was going to have a bad game eventually, just because there's no way he's going to be able to maintain that. But Burkholz made it 2-1 at that point. Reimer makes it 3-1. Desnoyers makes it 4-1. And then Newberry made it 5-1. So at that point, it's not looking too good. But 2 goals in a span of 35 seconds from Crane and Giordano has us back within 2. So don't count us out just yet. If we get a goal early to start the third, we could definitely still get back into this game. But this is definitely one of those outlier games that isn't characteristic of how good our team actually is, I think. Shots are even, goals are pretty close. Can we find a way to get an early goal and maybe tie this game up? Because I do feel like maybe momentum's starting to shift to us a little bit. Let's see what happens. Third period. Come on, boys. Let's get that next one. Penalty kill to start the third. We kill it off. And we do pull within 1, and it's a third line goal from Leahy. Absolutely huge goal there. Can we find a way to tie it up? Can we? Nope. Burkholz makes it 6-4. That's not good. Do we have an answer to that, though? I do still feel like we're in it, but we are down by a pair of goals instead of only 1, which is not ideal. Looks like we're going to end up losing this game. Damn, I thought we would be able to come back as Newberry gets an empty net goal, and unfortunately, we had our worst defensive game. We had a good offensive game, but after allowing only 5 goals in the last 5 games, we allowed 7 goals in our first home game of the series. So I definitely think this series could go to 7 games based on that type of game, but we definitely need Solovyov to get back into his normal standard, and hopefully our defense plays better next game. And also we get more depth scoring again. So Makinen from Crane and Albrecht, and we had Crane from Makinen and Cialfido, Giordano from Fermandel and Howden, and in Leahy from Nielkainen and Holmstrom. So that third line does pick up a goal, but that's all they picked up. So it was basically the top 6 again doing a lot of the work. We really need our other lines to show up here if we want to have a chance. So let's take a look at our stats here. A couple guys on 2 points, a couple guys on 1 point, but the plus minuses not very good, especially for that third line. So I do think we need to make some adjustments, especially to that bottom 6. Both goaltenders played pretty bad in that game. It's unfortunate because Solovyov had been really good up to this point in time. But he allows 4 goals on 20 shots. Zlatowski came in and didn't do really much better, so we definitely got to find a way to win the next game, considering they just took one of our home games. But, try and think of exactly what we want to do here in terms of adjustments. Do we want to go back to Bjorkstrand on the top line again just to see if that will help him a bit? And then Ragnarsson maybe could get the third line going again. I'm not too sure, man. This is unfortunate that we just had that rough game. Now, we are still in the series. We're only down 2-1, so I don't want to be too worried. But I think we do need to make some sort of an adjustment after a game like that. So we'll go Bjorkstrand top line. We will go Cialfito second line. Ragnarsson back down to the third line. And then aside from that, I don't really know if there's much else I could do. I could swap Crane and Frendell again, but Frendell's on only 7 points. He has been pretty quiet this round, to be honest. And Crane's on 15 points. Like, Crane's doing really well. From a defensive standpoint, any adjustments I can make? Maybe Novoselic and Tatar could swap, but that doesn't help any chemistry. Has there been any really bad defensive pairing? Holmstrom's a -6. Yeah, this kid hasn't been able to play defense to save his life in the playoffs so far. I know he is an offensive defenseman, but he's not providing offense either. I feel like I would scratch him for a game, but at the same time, I don't think it's a great idea. Now, putting in an enforcer into the lineup isn't an idea either, really, because I just feel like he'd take too many penalty minutes. But we could always throw Rudder in for a game just to change things up a little bit. And then Holmstrom can kind of reconfigure his defensive play, because he has been pretty bad defensively. Because if you look at every other defenseman on this team, I mean, Schaefer's a -3. Everybody else is pretty good. Like, these two used to play together. So I think I'm going to scratch Holmstrom for a game. I know it's a little bit of a risk, but I'm going to put in the enforcer defenseman instead for one game, just to basically hope that it helps our defensive play for a game. And then Solovyov will obviously stay in net. He has a .935 save percentage despite that tough game, so he's obviously going to start again next game. So I think that's all we're going to do in terms of adjustments. Quick little scratch for Holmstrom, but he will be back in for the next game regardless. It's just more about trying to find that defensive identity for this team. Also get the youngster in Holmstrom to kind of think about how he could actually play better defensively. Alright, so with that said, I think we're ready to get into the next game, but I'm really hoping it's a better game than the last one. Obviously, since we played really good in Game 2, we should be able to respond to a bad Game 3, potentially. Yeah, because that was completely of an outlier of game. Hopefully it doesn't cause us to spiral a little bit, since it was uncharacteristic of our team, but I do believe this team could respond here. And like I said, I still think the series could go to Game 7 easily, so let's see if we could find a way to win one of our home games, because then it will be a best of 3 if we do find a way to do so. So let's have a much better game here, especially in the second period, and let's see if we could find a way to tie the series up again. First period, Game 4. 1-0 us. Good defensive start. Bjorkstrand opens the scoring. There we go. He's finally off the schneid. Only took like 9 games or something like that, so maybe Bjorkstrand will finally start to find that next level of his play a bit, but he's been definitely a big disappointment. And like I said, his contract, he has clause kicks in next season, so moving away from him probably is going to be almost impossible, because I doubt he's going to want to leave a team that simulates usually really good during the postseason, or not the postseason, the playoffs and regular season kind of. So shots are 11-7, so we are outplaying them. We're only up by a goal, so it's not too crazy, but definitely need to have a better second period than last game if we can. Let's see what happens in the second period. 3-3. Looks like we're having some tough second periods as of late, which is not usually one of the main things for this team, but Odeline makes it a 1-1 game. Then we take a 2-1 lead, but then they get 2 unanswered goals. Power play goal for Odeline again, and Lacroix gave them the lead. However, Schaefer scores with 4:32 left, so it's a 3-3 game going into the third, which is better at least than being down 5-3 like last game, but still, that's the second straight game we've allowed 3 or more goals in the second, so we got to be better defensively in that second period if possible. I think we did maybe actually have a bad second against Columbus in one of the first games that we lost against them, the overtime game, if I remember right, but shots are 18-17 in favor of us. It's a 3-3 game. It's anybody's game going into third. If we could find a way to win this period, we could tie the series up, so let's have a good defensive period, and let's see if we could find our offensive touch still. Let's see what happens. Come on, boys. Power play for us to start off the third. We do not score on it. That's unfortunate. Power play again for us. We do not score on it. Penalty kill. We kill it off. Nicely done, penalty killers. Penalty kill again. Stop taking penalties, boys, please. Thank you. Final few minutes. Are we going to overtime in this game? The answer is yes. And this is a pretty massive overtime. Like I said, if we win this game, we do tie the series. If we lose this game, then we have to win 3 straight games, which is going to be kind of tough, especially against a team like Philadelphia. Shots are 29-25 in favor of us. Who wants to be the hero for us at this point? Who do I want to call on? Let's call on Bjorkstrand again since he scored a goal in this game. I honestly have a feeling he could get going a little bit. Maybe even Ragnarsson because he hasn't scored his first career playoff goal yet. He's only got assists, I'm pretty sure, up to this point. So if Ragnarsson or Bjorkstrand or somebody on the third line like Leahy or Nielakainen gets going, that would be very, very nice. So I'm hoping for one of those guys, but honestly, it's probably going to be a top 6 player if we do win this game. So let's see what happens in overtime. Can we find a way to tie the series up? I would jump in, but it's kind of pointless to jump in right now. So let's see what happens. Come on, boys. Please get that winner on our side. Penalty kill to start off overtime, and they get another power play goal. And unfortunately, we found ourselves now in a 3-1 deficit, which is not ideal, as Caleb Desnoyers scores. So we outshot them 32-26, but unfortunately now we have lost back-to-back home games, and Philadelphia has us on the brink of elimination, which means we need to win 3 straight if we want to win this round, which, I mean, I think it's doable with our roster, but at the same time, this is not where I anticipated us to be after we tied the series up in Philadelphia. So Bjorkstrand from Houghton into Tatar, we had Giordano from Cialfido into Tatar, and Schaefer from Cialfido and Frundell. Yeah, we need to be a little bit better defensively, and our goaltending hasn't been as good these last few games. This is all those power play goals against too. Like Solovyov had a tough game again, so Solovyov's starting to find himself as a bad goalie again like he was a few years ago. But man, our penalty kill needed to be much better. Like we allowed 3 power play goals in that game, and 2 of them were in the second period. But we were just not disciplined at all. In that second period, we gave them 4 power plays, and in the third period, they took 2 penalties. We took 2 penalties. And in overtime, we took a double minor, and it was the kid Ragnarsson. Ragnarsson had a bit of a tough time in terms of being disciplined. Rudder did take a penalty in that game, so maybe I shouldn't have put him in, but that's tough, man. That is absolutely tough. All right, well, we are still in the series, but we need to wait in 3 straight games, which we have done before, but it is going to be much tougher against Philadelphia. So we are going to put Holmstrom back in for Rudder, of course. But we do need to make some more adjustments, trying to find that next level of this team again. Because Philadelphia is definitely a tough team. They definitely could win the Stanley Cup if we lose to them. So let's go back to Rudder, and we'll put Holmstrom back in. I almost feel like going best lines, but I feel like it's going to make some stupid-ass adjustments. So what could I do here? Let's go back to Frundell top line. I know it's kind of weird because Frundell hasn't been good. We will go with... Cialfido, Mackinnon, Frundell, so the FMC line, I guess now. And then we'll do Karain, Giordano, Bjorkstrand. And third line, Nielakainen, Ragnarsson. I want Ragnarsson to do better, man. But Bjorkstrand also has been pretty bad here. 2 points only. God damn, man. He doesn't fit really well with that third line either. Maybe we should put him back to center. You know what? Because we're down 3-1, we're going to make some crazy-ass adjustment. Actually, we're going to move Bjorkstrand to third-line center. Leahy is more of a center as well. We'll move him to fourth-line center. We're going to basically stock up our center depth and hope that it helps us. Because now we're kind of at a do-or-die stance, so we might as well make ourselves as strong as possible down the middle. Because maybe we'll win more face-offs that way. So Mackinnon, Giordano, Bjorkstrand all on different lines. Defensively, we are going to swap Tatar and Houghton just for a little bit of a change-up. And then goaltending is still going to be Solovyov, but he definitely is not playing as good these last 2 games after he was really good for 5 straight games. Yeah, I don't think I want to put any of those guys in. Is there anybody in the NHL that could come up here? Sundin. Don't really want to get Sundin in. Haken and Carlson, Goalies, Schultz, Wisniewski, no. Alright, so we're going to run with this. We're going to see if making your center depth actually can make a difference. And then that gives a big chance to... Actually, maybe I could put Karain on the top line right wing instead. But I'm not too sure if that would even do anything good because he's not even a right winger. Let's try that, actually. Karain, Mackinnon, Frundell, Cialfido, Giordano, Ragnarsson instead. Yeah, we'll try that out. Is Biggers better defensively? He's an 80. Korolyuk is how good defensively? 89 defensive awareness. That's actually kind of surprising. Yeah, we'll go with this. We'll see if this works out a bit. I don't really know if it will, but it's do or die. We got to win 3 straight games, so we'll do this at least for these 3 games, if there is 3 games. And if we somehow get ourselves to the next round, we'll go back to our original lines again. But right now, we have to try and just something crazy and see if it works. So hopefully this helps spread out the offense a little bit better. Hopefully it also helps us be a bit better of a defensive team here going forward. So here we go. Game number 5 in Philadelphia. Can we survive one day, get it to a game 6 back on home ice? Let's see what happens. Come on, guys. Just take it one game at a time. Real-time simulation. Come on, boys. We got this. We got this. Power play for us. We do not score on it. Oh, we should have made some adjustments to our special teams because of the power play goals against last game. But we do get a power play goal of our own here as Leahy opens the scoring, so that's nice to see. But I do think I should have probably addressed our penalty kill after last game, but I completely forgot about it. But maybe our penalty kill will figure itself out after giving up 3 goals last game. Not a bad start. 1-0 us after the first period. Shots are 14-7. Let's keep the momentum going. Let's see if we could get some insurance here in a second. Come on, boys. Power play for us. We do not score on it. That's okay. Now we score again, and it's Leahy again, 5-on-5, but they do answer right back, which is quite not good. Sort of ties the game up. I knew as soon as they... Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me, guys? Solovyov is all of a sudden playing like old school Solovyov. We were literally just up 2-0, and then we gave up 3 quick goals. And we're going to be down 3-2 going into the third. This is not good. This is not good. I think I almost want to jump in and watch the entire third period, but at the same time, I don't know if I should. Yeah, I don't know if I should. I don't know. Maybe if there was 5 minutes left, I'll jump in and see if we can find a way to tie it up. But right now, let's see if the sim engine could give us the next goal. But I feel like it could give Philadelphia the next goal because the fact that they got 3 unanswered. But we are out shooting them 31-18, so we're outplaying them. You know what? Let's slow sim the third period, and we might jump in with 5 minutes left to see if we could try and find a way to cheese the game to get us back into it. So let's see what happens. Third period underway. Come on, guys. Penalty kill to start off the third. Power play for us. We tie it up. Let's go, guys. Mäkinen tying it up at 3. Long penalty kill. I don't know who took that penalty, but you guys got to be disciplined. Ragnarsson, what a time to score your first career playoff goal in the third period. Very good start to this third for us. They answer back. We're going to jump in with 5 minutes to go. This is not a good time for us to give up that lead. We are literally up by 1 goal again. But we are going to jump in here and watch this game and see if we can survive. And if we survive, then obviously we'll go to the next game too. But we got to find a way to win in Philadelphia here. It's been a bit of a back and forth game. We are down 3-2. We are up 4-3. Now it's 4-4. Hopefully Philadelphia doesn't get momentum after that last goal. Hopefully not. So we'll jump in here and see if we can find a way to force Game 6. Because Game 6 would be back on home ice, and then maybe the home fans could kind of help us get to a Game 7. So yeah, their goaltending is a 79 overall rating. So we should be technically the better of the 2 teams. But right now, Philadelphia is playing like they did during the season, which is pretty damn tough. Then drops it to Novoselicev. Here comes Crane. Crane can't get in. Now he's got it back. He can't. He turns it over. Desnoyers got it again. God damn it, Caleb Desnoyers. He's been good in a series against us. Throws it over. A chance and a huge save by Solovyov. I think that was on Noel Nord. That's a huge save to start off this jump-in. Yikes. I don't know who was supposed to cover him there, but nobody was covering that guy in the slot completely. All right, here we go. Their top line against our top line. Mäkinen versus Eklund. Eklund wins the draw. Get it away, guys. Burkholz. Can't get in. It's now with Novoselicev. He throws it up to Houghton. Olli Houghton, the offensive defenseman, skates in with it. Makes the move. Finds Mäkinen over to Crane, and that's turned away by Levi. Good chance there. Not a hard shot on goal, but still, at least it's a chance. Kind of weird seeing Devin Levi wearing 27 in Philadelphia because I'm thinking of Ron Hextall. It's kind of funny. All right, come on, guys. If we can find a way to get that next one and just close out this game, anything can happen here still. So you got this. Mäkinen on the offensive face-off against Eklund. Come on, Mäkinen. And he doesn't win it. Healy with the puck for Philadelphia. Throws it up to Burkholz. Burkholz with the puck. Nice poke check by Tatar. Burkholz again with the puck. Throws it down low. A shot from a really bad angle. Eklund got thrown right into the boards. Had a good chance, but Solovyov the save. There wasn't really an angle on that, but it still would have been an EAS goal if that would have went in. But what a hit there from Mäkinen. Just decks Eklund. Love to see it. All right, second line's out there. Sealfido, Giordano, Ragnarsson against their second line. Odeline, Reimer, and Newberry. Come on, boys. Giordano wins the draw. Here is Tatar. He throws it up to Sealfido. Sealfido skating in. Gets a blast. Damn, that was an interesting slap shot. Was not expecting him to shoot from there, but threw it on goal. Never know what could happen with those. Here is Alphonse Frige, or whatever his name is. Can't get by. Schaefer up to Giordano. Giordano skating in after some moves. Gets it over to Sealfido, who gets decked down. Yikes. This is a pretty physical series since we've jumped in here. Here's Frige again. Nice poke check by Schaefer. Schaefer finds Giordano. Giordano will skate up with it. He finds Sealfido. He finds Ragnarsson. Ragnarsson in, a backhand turned away. This is our first time seeing Ragnarsson, I guess, out there. Carter Yakemchuk up to Odeline. Odeline to Frige. Frige walks in, shoots, turned away by Solovyov. With 42.9 seconds left, this might be another overtime game. Might end up being. Hopefully we can win the face-off here and get it out of our zone, though, because we don't want that pressure system to kick in when we're on the defensive side of things. We just don't. Face-off is Eklund versus Mäkinen. Again, it's the battle of the top lines. And Mäkinen ties him up. We do get the possession of the puck. Nicely done, boys. Houghton throws it over. Here is Frundell. He finds Mäkinen. Back to Houghton, turned away. And a rebound was there, but we couldn't get to it. That was a nice little chance there. Turnover forced. Frundell finds Crane. We have full pressure here late in the game. Can we capitalize? Crane can't get possession of the puck. Michkov throws it out. And no, we cannot. Eklund finds Healy. Healy walks in, shoots. That's a huge save by Solovyov. Houghton throws it over to Novoseltsev. Are we going to get out of the zone again? Yes, we are. Looks like we're potentially going to overtime here unless Mäkinen can score there, but she's not going to. One last chance to end regulation. Crane doesn't even shoot. And we're going to overtime in an all-important game. We fight a way to win this one. Anything could happen, so we just got to be hoping that we get good goaltending from Solovyov. We play defensively to sound like hockey like we've done in the past. Find a way to get that fifth goal, and anything could happen. So shots are 45-29. Like, we're definitely outplaying them in this game, but they've been able to hang with us for a lot of these games. So let's see what happens in overtime. See if we could find a way to extend the series a little bit longer. All right, Eklund versus Mäkinen on the draw again, and Mäkinen wins it cleanly. Nicely done, Mäkinen. Crane will throw it over to Houghton. Houghton throws it up to Mäkinen. Frundell over to Novoseltsev, back to Crane. Crane with it, can't get in. Healy throws it over to Sierra. Of course, Sierra's out there right now. That's one thing I'm a little bit worried about, is playing against former defenders on their team. And Eklund just threw down, I don't know who that is, Novoseltsev, I guess. Damn. Frundell with the puck, finds it over to Crane. Crane can't get by, and now it's a chance the other way for Philadelphia. Good pick off by the captain, Frundell. Crane with the puck. He gets on by. Crane walks in, shoots, and turned away by Levi. Nice little first chance of overtime for us. I like it. Nice to have Frundell also making those good defensive plays. Like, that's why Frundell's still on this team, is he could also provide good takeaways and defensive play. All right, Mäkinen again versus Eklund. Come on, Mäkinen, you got this face-off, buddy. And he wins it cleanly. Houghton finds Novoseltsev. He finds Crane. Crane over to Houghton. Houghton shoots. Turned away. Rebounds loose in the slot. We cannot get to the rebound. Big hit. Forces a turnover. And Frundell got decked as well. Damn, that would have been nice if we got full pressure there. Burkholz walks in. Nice takeaway by Giordano. He throws it to Sealfido. Up to Ragnarsson. Ragnarsson can't get in. Ragnarsson throws it back into our own zone, and Solovyov has to get this puck. Come on, buddy, take it. Don't freeze it. Thank you. That was a little bit weird. I was thinking that they were going to go on a breakaway because of that pass. Giordano carries it in, shoots it. That's blocked. Huge block by that defenseman. Giordano with it again. He's hit, but Ragnarsson finds the puck, and he's turned away in tight. Damn, that was a nice chance for Ragnarsson. Reimer with it for Philadelphia. Finds Odeline. Big save by Solovyov again in the slot. Reimer gets turned away. Here is Sealfido. Over to Gio again. Giordano over to Cialfido, and that's turned away too. Damn, these goalies are playing great in this game, and Levi makes another save on Ragnarsson. We're outshooting him 50-30. Both goalies have made a lot of big saves. We do have full pressure, so if we could win this face-off, that'd be absolutely huge. It's Bjorkstrand who has quick draw, so maybe Bjorkstrand could do a good face-off win here. Yes, he can. Finds Tatar. Tatar throws it back to Schaefer to Nielkainen, who can't get the shot. It's still in their zone. Nord throws it up, and they get rid of the pressure. That's unfortunate, man. Carter Yakemchuk gets in, turned away. Over a front, and Desnoyers is robbed in front by Solovyov. I don't know how Desnoyers got opened, but yeah, he's been a little bit of a thorn in our side these last few games, so we definitely don't want to leave him in front of that net. Bjorkstrand, another defensive zone faceoff, can't win it. Here's a shot again for Philadelphia, turned away by Solovyov. We got to get this out, boys. They almost have full pressure, and we do get it out. Here's Bigris over to Bjorkstrand, over to Nielkainen. Nielkainen is turned away. It's now with Craig Cassivi? Yeah. I was going to say, who the heck is Cassivi's first name again? Houghton over to Bigris. Bigris throws it to Nielkainen. Can't get in. Come on, guys, get this puck back. There's a scramble. Novoselica finds the puck, finds Bigris. He scores! Bigris, his second career playoff goal, is a huge one. It might be his second goal of the night. I'm not even too sure. But the New York Islanders have survived another day. We're going to Game 6 back on home ice. That is an absolutely huge win on the road here, because then maybe it gives us momentum for next game. But we will be going on a little bit longer, which is absolutely huge. But a nice little stand-up play on that play. Like, we'll go back to it here shortly. But it was a nice play by Novoselica to get that play started. But damn, I thought Philadelphia was going to win it on a couple chances, but some big saves by Solovyov. Nice little goal there by Bigris. We'll definitely take a look at that in the instant replay thing. So let's take a look at that goal here. So this play was just a nice little stand-up. Nielkainen's board played. This turned over. Novoselica steps up, even though he's a defenseman. He ends up getting this puck, and it ends up becoming a 2-on-1. He makes a good play to drag that defenseman over to him. And that defenseman is Osgood and Cassivi were both out there too, actually. So our two former defenders get caught here by a defender that replaced them. And then Bigris gets all alone, and he just puts this in with a nice little move. Big goal there from the kid. Big, big goal. So third start in that game goes to Crane. 2 assists, 9 hits for Crane. Crane is a physical man. He is a very physical man. Second start in this game going to Ronnie Leahy. 2 goals for him. He was really good. And then the first star ends up going to Healy for the Flyers. All right. I wanted to take a look at, let's see. Bigris only had the 1 goal. I guess that was his second goal of the series. That was his first shot on goal in this game. So sometimes you only need 1 shot on goal to win games, and that's absolutely huge for us. As now, we just need to find a way to win on home ice, and then we could potentially go to a Game 7. So Bigris just lost morale because of ice time, which is kind of funny because he just got the OT winner, but there's not really much I could do about getting guys more ice time and all that right now. I don't really care about it, but do I want to keep the team the same after winning that last game? I think so. I think so. It wasn't a better defensive effort, but we did get goals from guys like Leahy, who's on the 4th line right now. Bigris, I don't know why he's losing morale. He's literally listed as a 3rd line checking forward. I guess it's because he doesn't have power play time. But there's not really much else I could do about it. So we're going to keep with this exact same lineup again, I think, going into this next game and see if we could force a Game 7. Yeah. All right. Well, let's see if we could force a Game 7. If we could find a way just to win in front of our home crowd, we could come back potentially still from 3-1. I definitely feel like our team has it in them to do it. So I do believe in us to potentially win here. We just need to play, obviously, a little bit better defensively than we've done the last 3 games, because those have definitely been a lot worse than the past few games before that. So apparently I just saw Montreal actually swept the Florida Panthers. So whoever wins this series will face Montreal for the a chance to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. So can we force a Game 7 back in Philadelphia after that huge overtime winning goal from Bigris? Another real-time simulation? Let's see what happens. Come on, guys. You got this. Just hopefully we get Solovyov playing good again in net. Makinen opens the scoring early on. Novoselica scores literally a minute later. Less than a minute later. Ragnarsson makes it 3-0. All right, so that OT winner might have woke up the demon on this team, but they all of a sudden get 2 unanswered goals back, but we do get 1 back of ourselves. Levi's already out of the net. This Bringus is in. Holy crap, what is happening, man? This is the craziest first period I've ever seen. Was not expecting this when we were jumping in. A 5-goal first period. A 6-goal first period. What the hell? Okay, that actually might be a team record here. What a first period. Mäkinen picks up a hat trick in the first period, which is also kind of insane. Mäkinen, Novoseltsev, Ragnarsson made it 3-0. So at that point, I'm like, hey, this is looking good. Odeline scores 2 goals. It's 3-2. I'm like, oh, this is not looking good. Then we get 3 more goals. Mäkinen with 2 and Nielkainen with 1. They have their backup goalie in net now, too. So as long as we play good defensively the rest of the way, we could definitely tie the series up. But yeah, I think our team just all of a sudden awoke after that OT winner. Shots are 17-10 in favor of us. We have 6 goals. Let's see what happens in the second period. Just keep this lead intact here, boys. Don't allow them to get anything else. But yeah, that was a crazy first period. Did not expect to score 6 goals in the first period. I don't think I've ever done that before. Nice penalty killing, boys. Long penalty kill here. They do get a goal from Reimer to make it a 6-3 game. And that is going to be the score going into the third period. Shots are 32-24 now, so the goaltender's kind of settled in a little bit more so now in the rest of this game. But can we find a way to close out the rest of this game? We're up by 3 goals and going into the third. Just have a good defensive third period, and we'd be going to a Game 7 back in Philly again. So come on, boys. Let's keep it to a minimum, the goals against here, possibly. Come on, boys. You got this. You got this. So that first period definitely helped us out a lot here, because we haven't scored since the first period, but we didn't really need to. 5-on-3 penalty kill, and we killed it all off. That's absolutely huge. And your New York Islanders are going to win the game on only first period goals as we win 6-3, outshooting them 48-31. So we're back to that department where we're shooting a lot of pucks and also scoring a ton of goals. So Game 7 back in Philadelphia. I do still think this team can come back from this 3-1 deficit, so I'm just curious on what this Dimension wants to throw us in Game 7. Like, are we just coming back from 3-1 to losing Game 7, or are we going to be the team that comes back from 3-1 and ends up finding a way to have an easy time in the conference finals and maybe the Stanley Cup finals? So Mäkinen from Schaefer and Frundell, Novoseltsev from Mäkinen and Frundell, Ragnarsson from Cialfido and Giordano, Mäkinen from Crane and Cialfido, Mäkinen from Crane and Houghton, Nielkainen from Bjorkstrand. So Mäkinen had like a 4-point first period? I think so. Yeah, I think it was a 4-point first period, and that's all we really needed. So in terms of our player stats, yeah, 4 points for Mäkinen, 2 points for Cialfido, Frundell, and Crane. Bjorkstrand had an assist, which is nice to see. A bunch of other guys on 1 point. This is why we kind of just go crazy with the lines and make our center depth as good as possible. Solovyov was better in this game than he's been in the last few games, but still his numbers haven't been as good as they were in the end of the last round. Mäkinen first star, Odeline second star, Crane the third star. All right, so the question is, what does Game 7 want to throw at us? We won in overtime 5-4, and we just won 6-3. We are finding our offense a lot better. But our defensive play has been a little bit lackluster, but I don't really know what to make of this series so far. I feel like we definitely could win this game and come back from 3-1, but at the same time, Philadelphia is a good team, so they definitely could find ways to respond after that. But I'm not too sure if we want to go back to our original lines now or just kind of keep it the same for the time being. And if we win this game, obviously, next round, we would go back to our original lines again. Because let's take a look at our depth scoring a little bit here, like with the plus-minus department. And just see if there's anybody that's bad in plus-minus. -3 from Ragnarsson, but that's okay. Anybody else mildly minus? Bjorkstrand -3. -6 from Nielkainen. He's been pretty bad. So, yeah, Nielkainen's been one of the worst guys defensively. -5 from Leahy. Yeah, that former third line's still kind of struggling. Defensively, anybody struggling in terms of plus-minus? -7 from Holmstrom still. That's not ideal. Yeah, he's still finding a tough time to play good defensively. And in goaltending, obviously the goaltending numbers are dropping off a lot. But Solovyov's on a 920. I did say this series would go to Game 7 early on. So we are going to be going to a Game 7. But is this team good enough to beat the Flyers. I think it is, but I am still a little bit skeptical just because of how we played defensively the last little bit. I just don't want to overanalyze and make any crazy adjustments that we don't need to make. So our center depth is really, really good with these adjustments. Obviously, it's something we probably won't run going forward because Bjorkstrand should be probably back into that top 6 at some point, even though he's been kind of offensively stagnant. Like, he's only got 3 points. But for the time being, we're going to still run with it. And I think we're going to run this exact same lineup again since we've won 2 in a row. Are we going to find a way to win in Game 7 in Philadelphia and get ourselves to the conference finals against Montreal? Or are we going to find a way to collapse here in Game 7? We do definitely have the momentum on our sides. They definitely are a little bit more back against the wall. But they have been scoring goals against us. So like I said, I am kind of scared. But let's see what happens here. Hopefully we can get Solovyov playing like he did early in this round against Philly. If he gets start playing good in net again, that could definitely change things a lot. So here we go. Game 7 for all the marbles. Winner goes to the conference finals. Come on, boys, please. Just build off these last 2 games. We opened the scoring, and it's Bjorkstrand, the guy that's been under a little bit of duress. And Novoseltsov scores again, too. And Houghton scores. Holy crap. Okay, when I said that I didn't score 6 goals in the first period before, I was not expecting us to score 3 goals in the first period in the next game. They do make it 3-1 with a power play goal against, so that's not ideal. Power play for us. We do not score on it. But good offensive start again for our team, which is nice to see. And we're up 3-1 after the first period. Pretty good, but obviously we're only up by 2 goals, so we got to be careful here. Shots are still pretty even, 12-11 in favor of Philadelphia, but we do have a 3-1 lead. There's a chance that Levi might not be in net again, which if that's the case, Springus is not the best goaltender in the world, so hopefully we can find a way to get maybe some more insurance. But Bjorkstrand's starting to come alive a bit. Like I said, we do need that depth to show up. Bjorkstrand has been better since being put back down the middle, which is interesting. Maybe we should play him down the middle and Giordano should go back over to the right wing in that top 6, because maybe that's why Bjorkstrand's been struggling a little bit, is he's better as a centerman, because that's his actual natural position. I'm not too sure if we'll do that or not, but that could be something we'd look into. Anyways, we're up 3-1 after the first period. Let's see what happens in the second period. See if we can get some insurance. Come on, boys. Let's get some insurance. Let's keep getting some good goaltending from Solovyov, too, because he is the man. 4-1 Crane beats Springus, so Springus is in net. That's a power play goal. That's a huge one at this point in the game. A long power play for us. We do not score on it, but that does take a lot of time off in the second period. And we will be going into the third with a 3-goal advantage, outshooting them 28-23. Let's go. I felt like when we went down 3-1 that our team was just not that type of team to basically surrender and lose in 5. I just didn't. And now we're literally a period away from winning after being down 3-1. So this is looking very good. Just got to have a good period here in this third and close it out. So let's see what happens. Third period underway. But looks like we should be heading to the conference finals, bearing a comeback from Philadelphia. Come on, boys. You got this. Good first start to 10 minutes. Final 10 minutes of the third period. 5-1. Crane scores again. Your New York Islanders will be going to the conference finals. Probably Zeklin makes it 5-2. But very, very good last few games in terms of offense. Obviously, our defensive play kind of got sacrificed a bit, but we do find ourselves knocking out the best team in the NHL remaining in Philadelphia. So who knows now? Are we going to be the favorite to win a Stanley Cup this year? I feel like we could definitely be. As long as we play good defensively like we just did in this game, we get that offensive support, we could be a really dominant team. So Bjorkstrand from Nielakainen and Tatar, Novoseltsov from Crane and Jarvis, of all people. Houghton from Alehi and Jarvis, and then we had Crane from Houghton and Frundell, Crane from Tatar and Frundell. Nicely done. Nicely done, guys. Crane with 3 points. We had Frundell, Houghton, and Tatar. Jarvis with 2 points, and a couple of guys on 1 point. But that is interesting. Very interesting game. And Solovyov back to his good game again. Yeah, I think when Solovyov plays good and we find that offense, that's when we're at our best, obviously. But we did find ways to win games, even with Solovyov not being the best, too. So Solovyov gets 3rd star. Springus got 2nd star, so he gave Philadelphia a chance after Levi got pulled early. Crane gets 1st star of the game. All right. So we are headed to the conference finals. Let's take a look at some player stats. As first and foremost, though, we do have an injury, and it will suffer into the next round a little bit, as Novoseltsev is out with a fractured jaw. He'll be out till May the 24th, so it is till for 10 days or so. But he will miss the beginning of the conference finals. So that's not ideal. I'm going to go replace player for a second, but we will make those adjustments in a little bit. But that's not good. That is not good at all. Let's take a look at our player stats anyways throughout the playoffs so far at this point in time. But yeah, that sucks for Novoseltsev because he's been playing pretty decent hockey as of late, especially in terms of offense. But in terms of our player stats here, we have in the centers, Makinen on 19 points. He's been fantastic. We have Giordano on 17. He's been really good. Leahy on only 4 points and a -5. I feel like Leahy still needs to do a little bit more. Hopefully he can get going a bit. Bjorkstrand on 4 points. He definitely needs to do more. So we are going to rework probably the lines back to the way they were, I'm guessing. Maybe, though, Bjorkstrand becomes the center. Giordano moves back over to the wing. But Giordano's been flourishing as a center, too. So we might have too many good high-end centers that only play good when they're centers. Korolyuk on the 1 goal in 13 games might need to be a bit better, but he hasn't been negative defensively, so that's okay. Left wing side of things, we have Crane on 22 points. He's been really good. Frundell on 14 points. Fido on 12 points. Ragnarsson on 5 is not bad. Biggers on 3. Couple guys are not doing too well, I would say. Like maybe Ragnarsson needs to be better. But he is getting his chances. He's just not converting. Right wing side of things, Neil Kinen on 4 points. Jarvis on 4. So if we look at our forwards, you could definitely see our top 6 has been really good. But there's guys like Bjorkstrand that need to be much better. Leahy should be better. So I do like our top 6 play, but I'm a little bit worried about our bottom 6. And then from a defensive standpoint, Howden's on 19 points. Tatar's on 9. Novoseltsev is on 3. He's been scoring a lot as of late. Really good plus-minus, too. He's a +12. So it's unfortunate that he's going to miss the beginning of the conference finals. But it will give a chance to Rudder, I guess, to play some more games. But Holmstrom's definitely been the worst defensive player on this team right now. Holmstrom will get a chance, I guess, in the top 4. Tatar will go back to the top pairing. And then goaltending-wise, Solovyov's on a 921. So his numbers are still looking pretty good despite having a bit of an inconsistent second round. All right, so there is that. The question is, what is Montreal going to be looking like? And are we the favorite now to win the Stanley Cup this season? Islanders and Canadiens seems like a kind of a historic matchup for a playoff round. I just feel like it is. So in terms of comparison during the playoffs so far, you can see that the Montreal Canadiens are the 6th best offensive team, so they're worse offensively than us. They are the best defensive team in the playoffs right now, 1.7 goals against. Power play percentage, they're not getting really much from their power play, but their penalty kill has been elite. So they're just a very good defensive team, and they do get goals 5-on-5, it seems like. So let's go to, I guess we'll start off by looking at their... Actually, let's take a look at their regular season, too. We do have home ice advantage, so I'm not too really sure what to make of the Canadiens here. So let's go to Eastern Conference. They were the 5th best team. They finished 5 points back of us. They scored 1 more goal in the amount of 82 games than us. So we scored 291. They scored 292. Goals against, they were better defensively than us as well. Their power play was worse than ours, and their penalty kill was only a little bit better. So technically, even though we were better than them during the regular season, they had a lot of better stuff than us, except for power play percentage. Huh. That's interesting. I'm not too sure what's on their team. Is there any like former players in Montreal at this point in time? I honestly don't even know. And we'll take a look at their player stats as well, just so we can kind of see who to watch out for. But Montreal, what do they got? First line, Ryan Rubruck. They also have Cash Alger East. Never heard of this guy in my life. He's definitely a real player, but never heard of him. And they also do have Eli Anthony. I think I remember this guy getting drafted way back in the day. All right. So that's a pretty solid top line. A little bit weaker, but not that bad. Second line has Cameron Addison, as well as Joshua Waugh and Matthew Fraze. So it's not a bad second line either, but they definitely don't have that strong top 6 like Philadelphia did. Third line has Nasir Lindsay, as well as Nate Danielson and Oscar Moeller. Not the former LA Kings Oscar Moeller. So an interesting top 9, and a fourth line of Gavin Hayes, Zane Vallette, and Parker Holmes. Also, one thing I didn't even mention, with the newest patch, you guys can see that the lines go a lot faster than they used to. Obviously, there's still a little bit lag, but it's definitely not as laggy as it used to be, I think, which is kind of nice. From a defensive standpoint, oh my goodness. Okay, I can see why they're a good defensive team. They're definitely stronger defensively than offensively, but they have Caleb McCardle, who was drafted 4 years ago, 6th overall, offensive defenseman. They also do have David Reinbacher, obviously pretty good defender, and Lane Hudson. Lane Hudson is an offensive defenseman as well. Has a better defensive awareness than I thought he would, but they have 2 offensive defenders. That's interesting. Reinbacher's probably a 2-way, right? Yeah, he is. They also do have Robert Enqvist, and on the top 6 pairings, Lars Gustafsson and Bear Konopka. When you have a guy named Bear, you know he's going to definitely be mauling you. Is he an enforcer? No, he's not. Okay. But he was undrafted. That's kind of intriguing. So their defensive core is very good. Their offensive core has some solid players on it. It's not the worst offensive core in the world. And goaltending, they have Jeffrey Sommers and Franklin Cizikas. Jeffrey Sommers, where did I recognize him from? I feel like we played against him before. Maybe not. He's been in Montreal his entire career. I don't know if we played Montreal in the playoffs. I think we might have at one point way back in the day. But this is their 3rd straight year making it, or 4th straight year making the playoffs. Before 2035-36, they did not make it, I guess. So that's interesting. And Cizikas, where has he played, out of curiosity? Just Montreal? Yeah, just Montreal. This is his first season. All right. And then in terms of their depth options, what do they got? They have Carter Hicks. They have Sean Farrell still. And they also have Wes Cassivi, which could be the relation to our former Cassivi as well. He's an enforcer. Interesting. 29 penalty minutes in 19 games? What the hell? That was in the 8. Oh, no, it's in the NHL. NHL playoffs 2 years ago. Damn. So this guy actually kind of is physical. All right. So that's an interesting team. I definitely think we have the better roster for sure on paper, but this team has good defensive stuff. Like, their defensive core is maybe stronger than our defensive core because they have 3 guys 87 and above. But from a goaltending perspective, it's kind of even, I guess. And then from an offensive perspective, I'd say we have way better depth than they do. But honestly, it doesn't really matter when it gets to the playoffs. All right, let's take a look at their player stats throughout the postseason as well so far. And maybe also actually the regular season so we can kind of see the threats on that team. I'd assume we know kind of who the threats are at this point, but let's see. So regular season was Cameron Addison, 82 points. Everybody else was below point per game on that Canadiens team. Lane Hudson had 47 points. That McCardle guy had 59 points. So they do get points from their back end, which is one thing I have to watch out for. Reinbacher had 43. Yeah, so they get offense from the back end. That definitely gives them a better assimilation. Goalies. Sommers had a .917 save percentage this season, so Sommers was really good. Somehow Cizikas had 4 shutouts, but didn't have the craziest numbers. All right. What about playoff-wise so far for the Habs? Who's been scoring goals for them at this point? Let's see what we got. So, we got to watch out for not really anybody. Their offense is not the craziest. Like, they do have good depth scoring. Like, I think better depth scoring than us. If we go to forwards, though, yeah, maybe they're a little bit top 6 heavy, but literally nobody on this team is above point per game. Anthony's point per game. Lindsay's over point per game, I guess. But still, nobody else is up there. And then from a defensive standpoint, Lane Hudson's doing a lot of work. Reinbacher, Enqvist. McCardle's been kind of quiet for an OFD. Huh. And in their goaltending, how's it been this postseason? A .952. So, yeah, that's where we got to watch out for. We know they're the best defensive team in the playoffs. So, Sommers has been on a crazy level, a .952 save percentage through 10 games. So, it's a battle of 2 really good goaltenders because Sommers got the .952, and then Solovyov for us has a .921. So, should be a very good goaltending matchup in this conference finals. If we continue playing good defensively, it might also play factor into Montreal's play. So, we kind of want to score a lot of goals like we did against Philadelphia those last few games. Winner will play either Edmonton or Seattle for the Stanley Cup. That's interesting too. I don't know if there's any former players still in the playoffs left. If we look at the league leaders in playoff points right now, Crane is leading the entire league in playoff points right now. Makinen, Houghton, and Giordano are also top 10. But for Seattle, Enroth is up there. Not seeing any Oilers up there, which is kind of strange. Well, anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of New York Islanders Franchise Mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to the conference finals against the Montreal Canadiens as we look to build off what was a very solid end to that last round. Obviously, we found ourselves in a 3-1 deficit, but our team was strong enough to pull ourselves out of it. And I do think if we keep on finding that offensive game that we found the last few games, we find the good goaltending that we did with Solovyov a little bit throughout this playoffs, I think we definitely can beat this Habs team. But they're a strong defensive team. They're a strong goaltending team. So we definitely need to find ways to score goals at least against them, which means I might go back to the original lines or maybe keep it the way we have it right now, which is having those 3 centers that are all really good down the middle. So I think that below, and I'll see you guys next time.